going to be going over today the functional analysis procedure or a functional behavioral assessment. So what is a functional analysis? A functional behavioral analysis, which we'll call an FBA from here on out because it's just a mouthful, is used to help determine the function behind the maladaptive or socially inappropriate behavior. So it's a behavior that we are wanting to decrease or cease completely at all points. There's like a couple of steps to a full FBA. There's a bunch of different modified versions, but we're going to teach the full, and that way when we do modify, you will have a better understanding as to why. So why do we do an FBA? So we do an FBA because it gives us a clear reasoning as to the reasoning behind the behavior. There's multiple different reasons that we all engage in different behaviors, and this is just a way for us to, it's kind of like an experiment and see what's going on. Later on in this presentation, I'll have like a little chart for the sake of it. We'll focus on screaming as one of the behaviors. This just is a cute little thing that I've found. It's all fun and games until someone figures out the function of your behavior, because once we figure out the function, we can figure out how to work around it. Okay, so what is a function? You keep hearing me say function, and it's the reasoning. So it is the reasoning behind the behavior. There are 4 different types of functions. They're kind of subcategorized though, and that way Cooper describes these in a very detailed fashion on how they're socially mediated, so people are used to help, or they can be automatic where the client can do it automatically. Overall, the 4 functions are escape, attention, self-stimulatory, and access to tangibles. Any behavior can fall under one of these or multiple. It doesn't have to be just one. It will always be what the highest one is, but if there's another function that is also very close and can serve as like a prioritizing function as well, they can be dually controlled. So what do I need to do in the FBA? There's 5 total conditions. So with any good experiment, you're going to have the controls condition, and that's play. So this is free access to toys, activities, whatever the client may want. Let's say this is a kid for now. Let's say like an 8-year-old kid. And for this example later, his name is actually Jimmy. So let's say Jimmy is in a room, he's got lots of toys around. He'll be able to have access to all of these toys. He will have some attention from an adult in the room as well, and positive attention as well. So, praise and any of that sort. And then we're just monitoring behaviors at this point. We're not going to intervene or anything like that. Okay, the next phase is access. So, and I've got a little bit of help here as well. So this is access to tangibles. Excuse me. So let's say Jimmy is playing with, I don't know, Legos. So if Jimmy is playing with Legos, and if we're determining that his behavior of screaming is occurring whenever he does not have it, so he's trying to gain access, during this phase, whenever we remove the Legos, if we remove them and he screams, we would know that that is, or a good possibility of, the function of the behavior. If we are to, sorry, got ahead of myself. On the next one for escape. So this is usually in the form of an aversive stimuli or a task demand is how we see a lot of it. So if, let's say we have the Legos once again, and we tell Jimmy, hey Jimmy, go open the door for that person. And he just starts screaming and wailing. Okay, well, that could signal, hey, he's trying to escape this task demand that we are trying to do. If it's an aversive stimulus, let's say he's playing again, and then let's say he hates Cocomelon, and Cocomelon starts coming on. He just screams. That could be an escape from an aversive stimulus. The alone condition. So alone is, there's like a low level of stimuli present. It's usually pretty calm, pretty neutral. It would actually be less stuff than in the play condition, because play condition, you just have a little bit too much free access. And if he just starts screaming with no adult or peer inside the room, no aversive stimuli present that we are aware of anyway, any of that, if he starts screaming, we could say that the function of the behavior is self-stimulatory, automatic. There's many different ways to describe it. For attention, attention can come in the ways of positive and negative. Positive would be like praise, good job, I really like how you're doing this, blah, blah, blah. Negative could be in the form of screaming, why are you doing this? Why would you stop doing that? Stop, leave me alone. Any of that stuff would be attention maintained. So if he's playing with Legos and he's just building, and we start praising and he continues to scream, then that could be attention. If he dumps out the Legos and is screaming and we start yelling at him and he stops screaming, then that could be attention as well. So this is just more of like what to do in those conditions. Like I said, you have to have control like any other good experiment, and then moving on from that. So here's a little ABC graph. So an antecedent, so what happens right before the behavior and the consequence. So we will figure out what the function is of this behavior. So antecedent, Jimmy is told to clean his room by his mother. His behavior, he screams for 8 minutes inconsistently and at different pitches. Consequence, his mother yells at him to stop screaming and shuts the door. Okay, so it could fall under escape, it could fall under attention. All right, let's see. Jimmy is playing on the floor with his toys. He screams loudly for 1 minute and laughs. His dad told him there is no need in all the screaming in a loud voice. Personally, I would see this one as attention seeking. I wrote it as attention seeking, as in he is trying to get that reinforcement from his parents, even though it is negative reinforcement. It's not what you would typically want to hear. It is still attention seeking. All right, but that's a basic FBA. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.